Welcome in, everybody. So, as you saw in the title, this is the first entry into a devlog series I'll be making about my game creators. You can expect a video every Sunday night going over what I've been working on. The game itself is going to be an FPS that will ship with a powerful scenario editor. This will allow people to make whatever they want to play with their friends online or solo. Some of the most fun I've had playing games was in those Halo 3 custom lobbies, hopping from mode to mode and never quite knowing what I was going to get. My goal is to recreate that experience on a massive scale, so I'm building this game with optimization as priority number one. I'm going to push the limits of what Unreal Engine is capable of, and I'm excited to see how it turns out. At release, the default mode will be a scenario I've come up with where one team defends a giant wall and the other team tries to get over it. Think the Battle of Helm's Deep with guns. These are definitely some lofty expectations, and that's why I've decided to make this series. If I commit to one video a week, I'm going to feel pressured to actually have some progress to show off. I won't promise that it'll always be groundbreaking, but the big thing for me is showing up every day and making progress towards the goal of completing this game I've always wanted to make, regardless of how many people watch these videos. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get into the development progress for this week. The first task was to build Unreal Engine 5 from source and create the project files. Building from the source code versus using a stock version of Unreal is more complicated and irritating to say the least, but it's definitely worth it, especially when making a multiplayer game of this scale. Building from source allows me to change things in the engine to fit exactly what my project needs from it, and it could be a giant pain to make that switch once development is heavily underway. Once the engine was built, I checked everything into GitHub Desktop using Git LFS as well, and I was ready to get to work. The next task was to create a fully modular weapon system that allows for players to customize their attachments to build their weapons as they see fit. The first step was to bring the weapon models I bought into Blender and saw off their stocks so they could be used as attachments instead of just being part of the base weapon. I then used a really cool Blender plugin called Mr. Mannequin Tools by Jim Kroovy, link in the description, to make some animations for each of the four weapons I needed in game during this initial development stage. For now, I just need the placement frame, equip, and unequip animations, but don't worry, we'll visit our faceless friend here quite a bit in future videos. I then had to place all the attachment sockets on the assault rifle so that the attachments will go to the right places. The next step was to fill out the weapon cosmetics data table so we can choose whatever attachments we want. I know most games have 5 or even 10 these days, but I decided to go with 2. Being able to choose all the attachments barely makes it a choice at all, and in my game, I want players to have to make big decisions when building their weapons. Want a nice clean optic? Then you'll have to sacrifice your extended mag, and so on. So now that we've gone through the how, let's see the final result. The two windows here show the view from our two players in the game who are connected to a dedicated server, which is going to be how multiplayer will work in this game. You can see our reflex sight and extended barrel showing up on our character as well as on the enemy character. Now that the feature is tested and we've confirmed that it's being properly replicated across the network, we're all done. So what now? The next thing I'll be working on is to make the game work when playing offline in single player mode, because it currently relies on the dedicated server, which isn't great. From there, I'll get our SMG and sniper going and add weapon swapping to the game. I'm not sure how much of this I'll get done before next time, but that's part of the adventure, isn't it? So until next time, I've been Steve, and I'll see you all in a week.